right there is the reason why I've not been able to feed my chickens with the door open. I have to feed them either late at night or in the morning and keep the door shut when they're done eating. Then I can open the door, make sure I take all their food out that they didn't eat. And they just forage for the day in our little new buck pen. This is Kiro. Hey, buddy. He's one of my new best friends. Kiro is going to be one of our herd bucks for our goats. He's my buddy. He was bottle fed as a baby. I've just started weaning him off his bottle completely. And he's not super happy with me, but it must be done, 'cause you're old enough. And he's eating hay, he's eating loose minerals, and he's getting a little bit of goat pellets in the morning as well. Look at his little face. Are you just so cute? He's just the cutest. And my other buck that I have is Kiro's roommate, and he's a little bit more skittish. He wasn't bottle fed or bottle raised, he was dam raised. And so he's a little bit more skittish, but he's getting used to me. He finally comes to me whenever I come into the pen. But he was eating the chicken food every day, and I didn't know that he was doing that. I didn't know he was going up in there. But yeah, he was doing that, and now his poop's all clumpy, and I don't think that he actually has worms or parasites or anything like that. I literally just think that he was eating chicken feed, and that's why, because all of my other goats are fine, except for him. I'm sure that you guys will remember our old suburban chicken coop. I actually filmed making this a long time ago. It was one of my first big building projects. We actually had it in our house listing when we sold our house in the suburbs last year, but the new owners didn't want it, so we brought it here. Had no idea what we were gonna do with it, but it has become a good separation for half of my flock of salmon Faverolles chickens, and hopefully it's going to be able to help us separate the bloodlines out and just kind of keep the eggs straight, because with everybody in the big chicken coop in the barn, it was getting really difficult to try to figure out whose eggs were whose, so this is really going to help with that. So yeah, and as you can see on the side here, over the last couple of weeks, I'll give you guys a better tour of it here in a second, but this is our new Buckling shelter. So the boys, they sleep in there together. There's a hay rack in there. There's a loose mineral feeder in there. And yeah, they seem to really like it. It's gonna be easy to clean out, I feel like, just with a rake. So I'm really happy with it, especially because I did it completely with scrap wood. Here is my goat house. I wanted to make sure that the hay couldn't get rained on, so it's in this little enclosed structure and completely out of scrap wood. I found another hog panel up in the loft, and so I made a hay feeder out of that. And this is where they eat their hay. They are open to the chickens right here, so they can kind of look in there and talk to the chickens. And then our loose minerals are in here. Loose minerals, some baking soda. That is actually different than how I'm doing the minerals for the does, and I'm gonna show you that here in just a second. And finally, I enclosed all of the bottom here of this chicken coop with plywood, because there was just hardware cloth under there before, but I just enclosed it with plywood because I figured, you know, if the boys for some reason decide they do not want to sleep in here, then they can easily go under there and sleep. So just trying to think ahead for, you know, cold weather and stuff like that. I want to make sure that they can stay warm out of the wind and all of that. Obviously, I am going to paint the buck shelter. I actually think I'm gonna repaint the chicken coop while I'm at it, the same dark green that we've painted the house. I think I'm just gonna get a gallon of it, and I'm gonna paint those, and then I'm gonna paint the goat barn, because I finally got the goat barn pretty much done. So we're gonna go over there, and I'm gonna show you that now. I actually shaved the girls down to keep them cooler. I didn't do the best job, but I did it. And I think that they are fine. Like, Helga looks a little bit bald right now Beady actually looks the best out of everybody. Hi. What are you doing? I actually got another goat I wasn't planning to get. And he doesn't really have a great personality. He's kinda standoffish, but he's been weathered. So it is a buck, but he's been banded and he's not able to breed the girls or anything. The breeder decided that they would part with him for 4 processed rabbits and some eggs in exchange for us to get him. And he is actually going to, Beady, he's actually going to be used for meat because Nigerian dwarfs actually can make good meat goats. And you guys are well aware that I am all for raising my own meat. I'm not gonna shy away from that. It is just something that we do. So, are they cute? Absolutely, they're all cute. But he's going to be used for meat. He's kind of an experiment for us because, like I said, not the best personality, and he's just not very social. He doesn't really like anything, honestly. I don't know if he's gonna warm up to us. But we're gonna grow him out until probably fall, and then we're going to butcher him and see what's up with the goat meat. I think we've had it once before at a restaurant in Chicago, but I've heard it tastes similar to beef. So we're gonna try it, and if we like it, we like it. If we don't, we don't, and then we'll know. So that is the plan there, and he will not go to waste. He doesn't really have a name. Like not an official name, I guess. I've been calling him Pork Chop. And I don't know for sure if that's going to stick or not, but it seems to be sticking as of late, so his name might be Pork Chop. I redid their hay feeder a little bit too, so it looks a lot neater now. I just love watching them eat hay out of it. But guys, this was so easy and cheap to make. I just found an old hog panel. It's rusted, it's not really pretty, but then I just surrounded it with a wood frame, and then I used plywood on the sides over here and some wood on the back of it to make sure that the hay wouldn't fall out of the back, because this isn't up against a flat surface. I had to mount it to the 2x4, so there's a bit of a gap between the hay feeder and the wall. But they really don't waste a ton. Despite what the ground looks like, they really don't waste a ton out of this hay feeder. And also, one of the things that was happening is I was having issues with my chickens getting in the hay feeder and laying eggs in there, so I just put this piece of hog panel here and this hook up here. So when I need to fill it, I just hook it up there and then fill it up. And the chickens aren't able to lay eggs in there, and they're not able to move it because it's pretty heavy. They don't really mess with it. So one thing I wanted to talk about is my mineral feeder here. Now I'm doing something that a lot of goat owners don't do. This is called the mineral buffet system. I joined a Facebook group called the Holistic Goat, and there is a farm, I believe she's in Washington, I'm not 100% sure, but it's called Little Avalon Farm. And she's come up with this buffet system of different minerals. So the idea behind the mineral buffet system is the ability for the goats to choose what minerals they actually need. You can buy pre-mixed minerals at Tractor Supply or any farm store really, and that's what I have in with my Bucklings. It's an all-in-one, I think Mana Pro, it's just an all-in-one mineral for them. But this system separates out all of the minerals, all 20 of the minerals. And the idea is that goats are very intuitive and they know what they need and what they don't need. And so they will go more for the minerals that they are actually needing in their body rather than consuming an all-in-one, which may not give them enough or give them too much of certain minerals. So that's the idea behind it. For instance, Beady was just really going for the copper and the cobalt. I know that all of my goats were just recently going for phosphorus. And also they have been going mainly for zinc and vitamins A, D, and E. Those vitamins are all in like a mix. When I learned about this buffet system, it seemed a little bit extra to me. It still seems a little bit extra to me if I'm being honest. But it seems to be working, and the goal with doing the buffet system like this is that you don't have to forcefully give them copper bolus or selenium yearly, because they will consume it on their own. That's the idea. Some people still say that you probably will still have to copper bolus, you'll probably still have to give selenium, but the idea is that hopefully I won't have to. So that's what I'm just kind of experimenting right now. My goats all look really good, so I'm happy with, you know, seeing their progress and seeing them grow and seeing what minerals they go for, and it's just been a really fun thing to kind of experiment with. And I think I'm going to keep it this way with the does and any babies that they have and any wethers that I may have in the future as well. But with my bucks, obviously they have a much smaller little barn over there, so I'm not really sure if I could fit a buffet system over there. But someday, if I have more money to spend on my bucks, then I might build a big barn like this for them as well, and then we could do a buffet system for them too. If you guys do want to check out this mineral buffet system more, you can check out Little Avalon Farm, and she has like a whole blog post on it and all of that, so I would encourage you to if you have goats. I think it's really kind of cool. But now I am going to get ready to move the goats up to the pasture because they need to move up there so I can let my chickens out. Sorry, really quickly, I did want to talk about this. I finally made my own milking stand, and it's so nice. I made it out of scrap wood again. So obviously scrap wood. But it's really cool. I'm really proud of it, honestly. Like, this was just an old piece of plywood that I found, and I cut it to look like slats. And also it's better for, like, you know, drainage if you spill milk up there, or if, you know, whatever, water or pee, or I don't know, whatever. So yeah, it's really cool though. I'm really happy with how it turned out. And this piece right here moves freely, so I can lock the goats' heads in, and I just have a clip over here, and their heads are locked in to the little keyhole right there. Oh, and I have this little screws like right there on that board, and I can easily hang, well, maybe not with one hand, there we go. I can easily hang my feeder on there so they can eat while I'm doing stuff to them, which recently has been shaving them all down. So yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. And this, you guys, I've posted about this on Instagram a couple of times. This is a preview of my new grow out pins, and this is going to be a blog post and a YouTube video. This project is funded by the Livestock Conservancy. I am very grateful to them for providing me the funds to create these. All this cage wire came with the funds that I got from the Livestock Conservancy. This is really nice cage wire. It's 14 gauge 1x1 on the sides, and then 14 gauge 1/2 inch by 1 inch wire for the floors. And I am just over the moon excited about these, and eventually when I do get them all made, there's going to be 4 total, so this is the first one, and they're going to be lining all the way down my fence line right here so that they are no longer in the goat pen. I don't want them in there. Alright, no. Okay, we're all getting up on the mount stand. Sorry guys. Come on. Dogs leave the does alone, but every time I get a new goat, that's the one they pick on. Ronin, stop. So right now it's all about picking on the wether. Poor little guy. Come on. They don't attack, they just kind of mull him. So until they get like completely used to him, that's how it's gonna be. Whenever a new goat joins the herd, they kind of have a fight for dominance. And Beady, my black one, is very pushy. She doesn't like new goats very much. And it's so ironic too, because Beady's tiny. Like, he's still a buckling, and he's almost the size of Beady. Ronin, out bud. We don't need you in the mix. So yeah, she's just trying to dominate him and trying not to let him have any pellets, which is really mean, Beady. That's rude. he's an outcast. Poor guy. It's only been 2 days, dude. You'll fit in. Promise. I mean, Juby's fit in quite nicely now. They didn't like her at first either. I mean, honestly, it's not like he's completely surrounded by food or anything. Poor guy's gonna starve.